Welcome to Popternative, where we dive into topical discussions from the worlds of pop culture, social media, and sports. Here is your host, Peter Remoliotis, aka PD Beats.
PD Beats here from Popternative, speaking to Colin Donnell about Irreverent, which is premiering on Peacock November 30th. Thank you so much for your time. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
I mean, this is exciting. Is it starting to kind of hit you that it's coming out? You film this, it's an amazing show. You have a great role on this show. Is it starting to sink in that people are going to be able to see it? Like, when does it start hitting you?
I think especially since yesterday our trailer finally dropped, I was so excited, and it has started to hit me. I mean, we started filming this over a year ago, a year and about a month and a half ago now. So I feel like I've been waiting on pins and needles for so long and getting ready to share it with everybody.
Yep.
And I've been telling everybody about it, but to actually have people catching glimpses of it now, and to be able to talk to people who have seen the show now, super exciting. And I'm thrilled that everybody's, not going to have to wait long to catch the whole thing.
I think an argument could be made, well, in my opinion at least, this is a genre-bending show. It's got the crime, it's got the drama, there's a lot kind of thrown in. I want to talk specifically about the crime aspect of it, Colin, because I feel like it's interesting because we are in a time, I feel like, where crime and like true crime, it's always been around, but there's such an appetite and appeal for that content right now. So I'm just curious, what is it like for you working on a project in that kind of realm, in that sphere, knowing that there's such a big appetite for that content right now?
Yeah, I think that Patty McRae and our whole writing team has done a really cool job of blending genres, just like you said. And so there is that aspect of the thriller and the crime part of our show. And when you mix it with something that has so much heart and so much humor to it, you get something really special. And I think that's where our show is so unique, is that we are really riding a fine line between the excitement of the thriller part of our show and the heartwarming, funny, center that is the rest of the show.
Absolutely. Is it all storytelling to you? Like, Chicago Med, this is all storytelling, or depending on, the stories, do you kind of have a different kind of mindset or preparation?
I mean, the basic elements of it all are kind of the same. I mean, not to gloss over and make generalities that don't really say anything, but it all starts with a script. And if you have a great base to start with, and then you fill out the making of it with great people, and speaking for our show, like, we had the best cast, the best crew, great writers, great directors, everybody top to bottom really came together to create something that we all believed in. And I think the joy of making it is what makes it come across so well for an audience.
That's so well said. I find too that a lot of characters are doing a lot of like self-reflection, a lot of soul searching, figuring a lot out, because they're kind of thrown in and you're laughing because it's like literally like the point of your character. It's like he's getting away from a lot of things. But like, I find it interesting, right? Like, a lot of characters that we see that on TV or on movies that are lost, a lot of them don't really think they're lost. You know what I mean by that? I think that's an interesting thing about it too. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, totally. And well, I mean, in a literal sense, Mack is totally lost. I mean, he is in a place that he has never been to before, surrounded by people that might as well be from another planet in some cases, in a situation that he's never been in before, where he's totally out of control now. And so he's sort of grasping at straws to not only fight for control over what's going on, but he's really trying to figure out the next steps and make it make sense logically for himself. And along the way, the great part of our story is that you see a man figuring things out about himself, and things being revealed to him that he never would have expected before. And that's because of this lost feeling and the community that he's ended up being surrounded by.
I bet it's really fun too, playing these characters that are just kind of thrown in situations, kind of thrown in the fire, so to speak, where it's like, you got to adapt or you're literally going to you're screwed.
Yeah. I mean, in his case, it is literally a life and death situation, right? I mean, if he doesn't do things right, he's going to be found out in some way. He's going to be caught by the people that are hunting him. So I like to say that Mack is anything he needs to be to any person that he comes in contact with in any situation.
Yep.
And so that was a lot of fun as we were filming, was to really get to be in the moment and look at the person opposite of myself within a scene and be like, all right, well, who is he now?
Yeah.
And that would change sometimes, scene to scene, sometimes episode to episode. And a lot of times it would change from moment to moment within a scene. And it was a joy. I mean, it was fun.
That's crazy you mentioned that, because that's literally my next question. You watch one episode of Irreverent, and just the scale and the quality of storytelling, Colin, on TV these days, you feel like one episode is a movie in terms of two aspects of things, right? The production aesthetic point of view, like things just look amazing these days, right? Like the eye candy and everything. Like shout out to the cinematographers. Can we give a shout out to the cinematographers for a second?
Absolutely. I mean, our directors of photography, our cameramen, our crew. I mean, look, it just as a tangent, we were in the far north of Queensland in the tropics of Australia. It was hot as anything. And then we went down to the southeast Queensland. We had to deal with some really epic, unfortunate floods that affected not only our production, but the community at large.
Yes.
And you had our crew worked through everything, and they really banded together. And specifically when it came to the floods that happened in southeast Queensland, not only did they help each other within the production, but then they banded together to help the communities that were especially affected. And it made me very proud to be a part of a group like that.
Absolutely. So yeah, that was the first thing, the aesthetic. Gotta give. I had to pause that question because we gotta shout out the crew. But the second part is the quality of the storytelling, with like so many things kind of happen in one episode, where like the growth of a character like changes within an episode, within scenes. You know what I mean? You know how they talk about like, this character really grew after 4 episodes. This character really grew after 2 scenes in an episode. You know what I mean by that?
You're right. Yeah. I mean, he is where he finds himself from when we first meet him to even 4 scenes later is completely different. And, I think that's one of the really fun things about our show, and what I hope audiences get, is that they're really on a wild ride from the very get-go. And we're hoping that they hop along and not only enjoy themselves, but, invest in what this guy is and who he's becoming, and his relationship, all those relationships that he forges throughout with the people of the community and with, his enemies, quote unquote. It's all really, I mean, it's juicy stuff to get into from my perspective, and it makes it really fun while we're shooting. And then to see the final product and know that audiences get to go along for that ride is really exciting.
What I love doing in my interviews, I don't know if you've noticed, my questions are basically kind of fastballs down the middle that you hit the dingers out of the park, where you can kind of talk about what's going on, because I'm not a big fan of like talking much about the characters in the storyline, just in case spoilers and stuff, because I feel like this show is very good to go in fresh. You know what I mean? So you gave enough away, like you gave enough that people can be like, this intrigues me, let me go pop on the trailer, and then they're gonna be like, I'm in. You know what I mean? The Popternative interview, the trailer. Do you know what I mean by that though? This show is cool, just kind of going in, right? You hop on the roller coaster. You might not be able to get off the roller coaster. But
I sure hope not.
You know what I mean though, right? This one's good to go in fresh.
I 100% agree. And especially seeing the trailer for the first time yesterday and seeing the reaction after I posted it and people getting their eyes on it, it does a wonderful job of sort of giving that overview of the dichotomy of our show, that it is very action centric. It's exciting. There's a million things happening to all these characters all at once, but there is such a wonderful humor that goes along with it, and anchoring it all in the center is just a gigantic, beautiful beating heart. And we're dealing with some some wonderful human beings, and the relationships that they have really holds it down in the middle of it all.
Absolutely. Premiering November 30th on Peacock, Irreverent. Colin, thank you so much for your time. It was so great chatting with you.
Man, thank you so much, PD. It's such a pleasure.
Absolutely. There's an Instagram account that you have that people keep up to date with as well, right? Is it just your name, Colin Donnell?
Yes, at Colin Donnell. 1 L in the first name, 2 N's, 2 L's in the whatever. I'm not going to count on my fingers. 2 N's, 2 L's in the last name.
Absolutely. Well, this has been Pop Turnitive, youtube.com/Pop Turnitive. For previous episodes, you're going to be able to catch Colin Donnell in Irreverent, premiering November 30th on Peacock. Until next time, this is Colin and PD Beats signing off.
Thank you for tuning in to Pop Turnitive. Make sure to check out our past episodes of Pop Turnitive on YouTube. Be sure to like Pop Turnitive on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
This has been an Autograph Communications production.